Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Robert Allen, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Corporal Daniel Hodgson. We warmly welcome the family of Private Frederick Kafer, who are watching the live stream of this evening's ceremony. His story will be told shortly. We are honoured to acknowledge Lieutenant General Thorsten Porschwater, Commander, General Air Operations Command, accompanied by Air Commodore Gretchen Fryer, Director General, Strategy and Planning, Royal Australian Air Force, and the accompanying delegation. We also warmly welcome the delegation representing the United States Congressional Staff. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and for operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Frederick Kafer. Frederick's father, Jacob, immigrated to Australia in 1855 with his parents and siblings from Owenstein in the German kingdom of Württemberg. They settled in Maitland, Newcastle area of New South Wales, where Jacob married Annie Maria Barker in 1873. The couple soon began a family of 9 children. Frederick Jacob Kafer was born on the 29th of August, 1878, was their third. Little is known about Frederick's early years, apart from schooling in the Newcastle area. He gained work as a coal trimmer, tending ships that came into port with cargoes from Australia's eastern seaboard. His father, Jacob, also spent many years as a stevedore and coal trimmer on the Newcastle waterfront. In 1904, Frederick married Charlotte Absalom, a local girl. They had 2 sons, Norma and John, and a daughter named Jill. When war broke out in August 1914, Frederick was 36 years old. He didn't join up immediately, but volunteered at the end of December 1915. Frederick signed on as a private and was allotted to Alpha Company of the 35th Battalion. After basic training, he and his comrades embarked in Sydney aboard the troop ship Benalla, departing on the 1st of May 1916. 2 months later, they arrived in England, where they underwent further training. There was some confusion over which unit Frederick belonged to. Nevertheless, when he crossed the Channel in late September, he had been assigned to the 53rd Battalion. Known as the Whale Oil Guards because of the polish applied to their helmets, by the time Frederick joined them on the muddy Somme battlefield in October 1916, the battalion had probably long given up trying to keep their helmets clean. Described by one soldier as a big lump of a man, Frederick stood nearly 6 feet tall and with his years spent on the waterfront could likely handle himself in the rough and tumble of army life. Through that long, miserable winter of 1916 on the Somme, then into 1917 and 1918, he served alongside his comrades in the 53rd. They pushed up to the Hindenburg Line, where in May 1917, Frederick was first wounded by shrapnel to the forehead. Later that year, he was hit again at the battalion's biggest battle, Polygon Wood near Passchendaele. Then, in the spring of 1918, Frederick was wounded a 3rd time. A gunshot wound to the head was more serious, and this time he was evacuated to England. After several weeks recovering in a North London hospital, he went to a convalescence depot and finally to a training brigade to rebuild his strength before returning to the front. At the end of July 1918, Frederick was back with the 53rd, just in time for their final campaign. The Battle of Amiens, which opened on the 8th of August, was a stunning victory. In the weeks that followed, the Australians drove the enemy back along the Somme, but by the end of the month, the Germans had made a stand at Mont Saint-Quentin and the town of Péron. Before dawn on the 1st of September, the 53rd moved into position northwest of Péron. In drizzling rain, they attacked but immediately encountered enemy troops and dense barbed wire. As another battalion broke into the town, the 53rd battled forward to seize Anvil Wood, just to the north. Many acts of bravery were seen among the 53rd, foremost being Private William Curry, also from Newcastle, as he rushed forward along to capture a German field gun that had been inflicting heavy casualties. This earned him the Victoria Cross. The battalion advanced into a cemetery but were pinned down by intense enemy fire from 3 sides. There, among the gravestones, they remained for the rest of the day. We don't know exactly when or how Frederick Kafer was hit during this battle. He was badly wounded and died later that day. The 53rd suffered nearly 60% casualties. A total of 252 men were hit, including 51 killed. Frederick is buried at Péron Cemetery Extension. He was 40 years old. His name is also listed on the honour roll on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Frederick Kafer, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the oath and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director and staff, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.